This is the plaintiff, Jamal Harris. He says the defendant, his former landlord, was one of those landlords that would never fix anything that broke in his apartment. In fact, she threatened him, called the cops on him, even tried kicking him out. He finally had enough of the harassment, moved out, and now the defendant won't return his security, and he's suing for the $2,500 he's owed. This is the defendant, Althea Phipps. She says the plaintiff was a troublemaker from the get-go, purposely damaged his apartment and stopped paying rent. Oh, the plaintiff is security? No way, man. She's accused of ticking off a tenant.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says his former landlord was a slacker who wouldn't fix anything, then had the nerve to call the cops on him and says now he won't return his security. But the defendant says the plaintiff was bad news. It's the case of there's really no place like home, and it sucks.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Jamal Harris.
Yes.
You are suing your former landlord, Althea Phipps,
Yes.
for $2,500, $1,425 that you say you're owed a security deposit, and the rest for increased electric bills from July 9th to February 12th, which we'll explain in a moment. Because according to you, your landlord improperly kept your security deposit with no rights. Tell me what's going on.
I moved in an apartment around 2006. Upon moving in, my mother lived there before me. She left a security deposit. Once I moved in, Ms. Phipps let me know that it was an increase in the security, so I gave her the cash for the increase. Over the years, I had multiple problems with her. Now, I said the security was $1,425. I just came from housing court in December. At no time did she say that I owed her anything on the security deposit. She tried to charge me late fees for me being late on my rent. The court told her that she couldn't charge me. So upon me moving out, I gave her keys.
Wait, stop. You guys reached a settlement in landlord-tenant court, right?
Yes,
we did.
And part of the settlement, let me get the settlement, not go by memory. Part of the settlement is that you're going to be out when?
It said that I was supposed to be out by the end of January.
What date?
January 31st.
January 15th,
15.
not 31st. So middle of January. All right. And were you out in the middle of January?
No, I wasn't.
When did you get out?
I didn't leave until March 2nd, 2012.
Okay. All right. Why did you leave on March 2nd when you were supposed to get out January 15th?
Being that I received a subsidy from Section 8, I can't move and do anything without their approval. They didn't give me my approval situation until the 15th of February.
But if a court, all right. See, you seem to think that your Section 8 problems are her problems. And you're on a month-to-month that has already been ripped up by a court of law where you agreed to do certain things. And that's the problem that we're having with you sticking around until March 2nd. Tell me your side of this.
Mr. Harris rented the apartment from me after his mother, who was a very good tenant, lived there and recommended that I leave the apartment with her son.
And how long did she live there?
She lived there for 4 years.
Was she on Section 8?
Yes.
Okay.
And she became autonomous. She came off Section 8, but transferred it to her son. So when she left it with this able-bodied man, I thought he would be able to pay me the portion of his rent, which was only $365, $369. It varied according to his income, because he was working at that time. I constantly had to take him to housing court. I took him to housing court in 2008, 2009. And when I notified him in May of 2011, I gave him notice that his lease that expired in July of 2011 would not be renewed. From then on, it was a vendetta. He told me he was going to make my life miserable before he left, and he did. He punched holes in doors. He punched holes in doors, he broke tiles, he broke cabinet doors, and did all kinds of destructive things to the apartment. And Section 8, when they came in, told me I had to fix them and take him to court for the money. Okay? So I had it with this gentleman, and I told him he needed to leave my place. The court told him he should be out by January 31st. He stayed and stayed.
No, January 15th.
Yeah, January. Well, he stayed past that. So I allowed
No, you guys,
him-
I'm sorry, you guys are right. It's something else he was supposed to do by January 15th. It's January 31st.
January
he's supposed to-
31st.
Yeah.
I allowed him to work out whatever his problems were and leave peacefully because it was a constant fight between both of us. He would intimidate me, come up in my face. He thought because he's a man and I'm a woman, he could intimidate me, the obscenities.
I don't think anybody can intimidate you.
Of all of those. So he then told me he was going to leave by the end of February. He didn't. He left the 2nd of March. Technically, even according to the letter that I received from Section 8, he actually owes me for the entire March. I didn't charge him for that. I charged him just for the 2 days he stayed and the agreement we had, which is that
Why
he
didn't
pays
you
me.
charge him for that?
Well, first of all, the 1208 wouldn't even cover the 1425 anyway. But it was mainly the repairs that I did to the door and the tiles.
Okay, so you have, according to you have all kinds of repairs that you had to do to doors,
Yes.
to tiles, and to different things, and that's why you deduct from the security deposit.
Yes.
I don't even need to get into whether you are allowed to do that or not allowed to do that, because I got a guy looking me right in the face saying, yeah, Judge, I know I'm supposed to leave January 31st, but I left March 2nd. You understand that when you're there March 1st, you owe March.
I understand that, Your Honor. I don't have a job.
I understand, but you understand that's the money that's going to March.
Right.
So why are you suing? If you owe March, then why are you suing to get a month back when at a minimum you owe her $425, even if you don't owe her for any damages? See, at some point you got to put your big boy pants on and just get out.
Do I get to speak now, Your Honor?
Do you hear what I say, though?
I understand so far.
Okay, yeah, you can talk.
Okay, so you're on Section 8, and you say to the landlord at the beginning of the month, look, I don't have enough money. Is that a defense to not paying rent? What do you think?
Not at all. You're under contract to pay the rent, so you're obligated to pay your rent.
So poverty is not enough to say, look, I don't have the money. I'm trying, but I don't have the money.
I don't think it is. Because if they...
Can we try this in legal terms? Too bad, so sad. Right? Too bad, so sad. Going inside the courtroom.
As far as a lot of the repairs and the things that she's done, I have I've been complaining for years since I've been there. The water leaks. I have a water leak. The water leak in the house. The water leak will come down. It ruined the couch. I got the pictures here. It ruined the wall. She would never fix anything. The only way she would fix things is if I would complain. I stopped complaining to her. I started calling 311. I started getting threatening letters.
How often were you calling 311?
Every 2 days. In the
Every 2
wintertime,
days calling 311 on the landlord. Okay.
All right. It was for heat and hot water. I had to put water on the stove so I could stay warm.
But let's understand something. Anything that happened in the past, you guys settled in December when you were in court. I got to talk now about December, about your settlement.
All right.
But let me understand what you are. One of the things that are in your lawsuit that you and I haven't discussed are the electric bills. You are suing for $1,075 amount owed for electric bills from July 2009 to February 2012.
Yes.
Those aren't all your electric bills in 3 years.
She put a dehumidifier. It was mold in the back of in the wall. She went and had it fixed. She put a dehumidifier back there. She plugged it in the wall and told me that I had to pay for it. I said, why am I paying for it? I ain't put that there. This is your property. The lady told me since she was continuously paying for heat, that was going to be mine, and that's what I was going to pay. I said, you got to compensate me. I'm not compensating you for anything.
Okay.
This is what I heard from her. And then she called the police on me. What am I going to do?
For what?
I asked her, could I have a cookout? Mind you, she rented, when I signed the lease, the carport was mine, supposedly. 2 years later, she rents it out to the Spanish lady live down the block. I asked the Spanish lady, yo, I'm having a cookout, big birthday joint, come through. Cookout, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, this lady come with the police. I think this man is vandalizing my property. So she was trying to get a track record. You can't even see inside the door. How you know I'm vandalizing? Because I make complaints.
Okay, stop. Did you call the police on a party he had?
She brought the police. She was with him.
No,
Go ahead.
he had already had his cookout. What he had was really a marijuana party with his friends, drinking beer in the outside of the property. On the outside of the property. That's when I called the police. The police didn't find the marijuana because once they saw the police drive up, they ran inside the apartment. But the police told them they cannot sit in front of the apartment and drink beer, that they could be arrested.
All right, folks, It's very, very simple. I don't even need to get into whether the repairs were something that were his fault for deliberately doing in order to call 311 on you because he hates you, or what, like you say, or whether the repairs are something that you should pay because you're the landlord and you're supposed to upkeep. I don't have to get into any of that. I don't have to get into any of that. Because where am I? I got a court order telling you to move out January 31st. I got you looking me straight in the eyeballs and saying, yeah, I didn't move out. I got her not being paid for all of, I guess you weren't paid for all of February because he was approved half the month somewhere else. I'm not quite clear on that, but it doesn't matter. I've got you telling me, yeah, I stayed till March 2nd because that's the way it is. Because I only got approved February 15th, 14, 15, 16 days ago. It's inexplicable. At what point do you just have to do what you got to do? I mean, well, I'll tell you the point right now. You don't get any of your security deposit back because, don't swear in my courtroom. Do that after you get out of here. You don't get any of your security deposit back because you stayed into March. That's the law, and it applies to you, too. Verdict for the defendant.
Thank you.
All right, hold on right there.
All right, well, here he comes, the plaintiff out of the courtroom. Step on in here, and what is it you want to say now?
This is how you get robbed in America.
How so? Did you try to take advantage of the system?
I mean, it ain't trying to take advantage of the complaining to get me kicked out. I guess, I didn't follow up, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. The case is over, I lose. I just won't get a 60-inch TV.
Mm-hmm. All right, okay. All right, this way, okay? This way, right down there, all right? All right, so come on in here and tell me, what do you think went down here? What happened with him?
Well, for the first time, I think justice was served because he was always given extensions. He lives off taxpayers' money, and he couldn't even pay his portion of the rent. It was a constant battle. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad he's out.
Did he try to intimidate you to take advantage of you because you're a woman?
Screaming in my face. Yeah, screaming in my face, threatening to hit me, and so on. And even when I went to the precinct, they told me if he didn't hit me, there wasn't anything they could do. So for the first time, I feel justice was served.
All right, Harvey.
You know, a lot of people think when you're on Section 8, there's some kind of a special provision for not paying rent. Not true. You're treated just like anybody else. You have to pay rent beginning of the month. Doesn't matter what your financial situation is.